If you are looking for a quick tutorial on setting up Create farms, then you're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to talk through how to use the saw and harvesters to create fabulous farms. I don't do block by block tutorials. I try and explain the how and why instead, so you can then apply it to anything you need to do. Teach a man to fish and all that. Don't forget to hit the like button if you find it helpful so more people can find it. And also consider subscribing so you don't miss out on my fun playthroughs of mod packs and loads more content like this. Right, create farms. Where to start? Let's start with rotation and bearings. All of these farms, or these style of farms, start off with a mechanical bearing, and you send your rotational energy, your stress units, into that mechanical bearing, and it will start to rotate. So I've got a little setup here. There's a mechanical bearing in the middle there, and here's a quick and easy way to get rotational energy into it. If you put your water wheel in the middle downwards like that, and we pop a block here and a water bucket against that block there, your water wheel starts to turn. Takes up very little space, and now we can just add some shafts to this, and we have connected it to our mechanical bearing. Simple, right? Obviously, if you haven't watched my previous tutorial on getting started with Create, where I go into a lot more detail on all of this stress unit stuff, then you better check that out. And you can see it's not really doing anything until we add some blocks to it. Now, there is a block called the linear chassis. You can use these, and if you use W to ponder on them, it shows you how they work. Essentially, you can stick a load of these things together and they will act as one block. However, you can also use glue and other blocks of your choice to achieve the same result. So if I put the glue in my offhand and then I use my polished bird poop on my mechanical bearing, it will stick to it, and then I can use another one and another one and another one. If we then use an open hand, right click, the whole thing should be rotating. To stop it, just go down and right click it with an empty hand again, and it should have stopped. Perfect. Let's talk about collecting the items and moving them off. To do this, we use something called a portable storage interface. And if we look over here, we can see we've got a portable storage interface there and a portable storage interface there. This setup is the same for any of these types of farms. So with your glue in your offhand, place a block, place a storage portable interface on top of the block you've just placed. And then we want to leave a 1 block gap and do the same on this side without the glue. We don't need the glue in our hand for this. And we want to turn it so these two things are facing each other. So when this starts to rotate, when these two align to each other, they will connect, as you can see over here. And any items that have been collected by our contraption are passed into this. To get items out of this thing, you could put some chutes. If you put a chute underneath it, get rid of the block. And if you hit the chute with your wrench, it will give it a little bit of glass. And then you could put a chest underneath, or you could set up a belt system to move the items that drop out of the chute into wherever you want it to go. So this belt system from the tree farm is taking the stuff out of this chute all the way over to the same chest. And look at all of this stuff we've collected from that farm. We'll do another tutorial on using belts and transporting items soon. But for now, you need your portable storage interfaces, a chute, and a chest. Now, I hear you all saying, but what items, and where is it going to take those items from? Well, with your glue in your hand, in your offhand, if we put a chest, say, here, this chest becomes part of the contraption, and therefore items in this inventory will get taken into this portable storage interface and transferred off. Any of the items in here will get transferred off. One item to be aware of when dealing with these farms, these are not clever. They will take all of the items out of this chest and pass them into your system. In a tree farm, we don't want it to take the saplings, because the deployers are using the saplings. So you could use a transport system like Laser IO to say, keep at least 64 saplings in there. Or if you're going very create, you can use a filter and blacklist saplings and apply that filter to a Smart Chute. And now when this is on, it will not take these saplings out of here will only take the logs and sticks and acorns. And when it spins around, you'll see that it only drops out the sticks, acorns, and apples. Doesn't drop out the saplings. So the basic setup is the same for this sorts of farm or tree farms. So we are going to use the harvester now. The harvester is a very cool tool. It will harvest the fully grown crops without removing the seeds. So if this was fully grown, it would act like bone meal. And we want to place it on the direction of travel. So we knew this was going this way, so I'm going to place it on this side. If it was going the other way, you'd place it on the other side. And with the glue in hand, we can simply right click each one of them on there. And that's the farm done. That initial setup is the same no matter where, and this time we're using harvesters. So with an empty hand, if I right click on our bearing, and it's off. And if any of this decides to grow, it harvests it. And when it rejoins here, puts the results in the chest. And the tree farm is very, very, very similar. The initial setup is exactly the same. We've got our, this time we're using linear chassis, but we've got our bearing here connected up. And with this time we've got linear chassis, but these could be blocks. I have a block here and my interface, my storage interface here and here. The next thing you do though is you come up a level, so at the same level as the storage interface, and you place in more blocks. This time don't forget to have your glue in your offhand, because on these blocks you're going to attach a deployer. And the deployer is what plants the sapling, because the saws are placed on with glue in the direction of travel, the same as the harvester. The saws cut down the tree in entirety, so we need to replant the saplings. So with our glue in our offhand, we want to place the deployer so it's facing down. If it doesn't face down when you place it, you can use your wrench to rotate it. So I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to click on the bottom, and then I'm going to click on the side of it, and that faces the deployer down. And then the important thing is we want the deployer to deploy saplings. So where it says filter, you can right click a sapling in there, and that means only saplings will go into the hand to be deployed. This is on the opposite side to the saws, and that's it. I've put my chest up here so we can open and close the chest, and if you make sure you've got some saplings in here, when you start it, it will actually plant the saplings for you. Instead of the chute going into the chest, it's going onto a conveyor belt, and we're using a smart chest with a filter to blacklist the saplings, so it keeps the saplings in the chest. Eventually the chest will fill with saplings, but that will take a while to happen. So at some point you'll need to stop it and take some saplings out and restart it. Simple. Let's turn it on. Right click with an empty hand, and we should see that it's planting saplings behind it. It will then wait for them to grow. Once they grow, it will drop the logs and stuff, but no saplings onto the conveyor belt. Let's help it out by growing a tree, shall we? Oh, one's grown, so we should see this now chopping it down, and then we'll see the logs and acorns and apples and sticks, if there were any, being dropped, but no saplings, because the sapling will be going into that chest and staying there. Simple, right? And you can make these as big as you want, up to the rotation limit of the bearing. Look at this farm here. So this is using a harvester. I've got it, no idea how many long that is. And the harvester is harvesting in a circle. So it's not harvesting these ones, but you can see the circle that it's pretty much doing. And it's harvesting all of this stuff for me. You can see it's really doing a good job. And in this chest, we have flax and beetroots and cabbages and basically all of the things in this farm. And it all starts with the same setup. So hopefully you now know how to make your rotating farms with Create. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss any of my next content. Catch you in the next video.